Hi everyone, Devereaux here. Thanks for tuning in to watch my Materialize how-to video. And in this video we're going to talk about setting up the material instance for one of your models. So let's get that started. So we'll go ahead and exit out here and change my mode. And then basically we're going to go and find a model. Let's go to the starter content and I'm going to look for a static mesh filter. And there's the table. Here's a table I'm going to use. Let's pull that table out here. Let's make it just a bit bigger so that we can actually see it for the demonstration. And then the first thing I want to do is go into this model's material. So I'll go ahead and find that here in the browser. And what I want to do is go ahead and duplicate the original material that's already assigned to it. And we'll call this Materialize. Or, yeah, Materialize. If I can spell. So then we'll do is open this Materialize up and we'll want to insert our function. The material function that's included with the Materialize pack is called voxel up. If you see Materialize voxel up. So what we want to do is we want to take in the input of the base color in the metal. So we'll go ahead and just take the base color from your existing connection and your metal from your existing connection. And then we'll want to go down and hook it up, the base color from the output of the Materialize voxel up function to the metallic of your material attribute. So basically what we want to do is we also want to set up the other functions that may not be set up automatically on your material. So we want to go ahead and go to the material itself by clicking on it and then go to the details panel here left side, and we want to change this to from a blend mode of opaque to masked so that the alpha will work correctly. And then the other thing we want to do is we want a full effect, so we want the tessellation. So we'll need to scroll down to the tessellation category in the details panel also. We want to change it to flat tessellation. And then also for the best visual quality, we want to turn on the crack-free displacement, which makes sure that everything is sewn correctly whenever you tessellate those vertex out. It doesn't rip the seams of the model. So we'll go ahead and turn that on. And now that should be all that we need set. Okay, so now what we need to do is connect our outputs, our emissive output. That'll be the glow of the edge. Our opacity mask, that'll be where the alpha, when it's being hid. And then we need to hook our world position offset up. And then also your world displacement. And then also your tessellation multiplier. And all those things are used in conjunction for creating the effect of smashing the model down and also expanding it up. So there's material. The way I like to set this up is I don't like to assign the material to the model by default, because what I would do is whenever you're running inside the game and you actually want to apply the effect, I would change the material on the model at that point, run the effect, and then change it back to default so that during the idle time of the model, when you're not actually using an effect, you don't have the overhead of the shader cost. So next thing we want to do is we want to actually create a instance of that new material we duplicated. So go ahead and right click and hit create material instance. I like the naming convention of MI for material instance, so I'll go ahead and do that. And then we can go ahead and assign it to the table. Alright, so here we have the Materialize function, and what we want to do is click on underneath the Materialize category, the Materialize amount. So right now you see it's disappeared. Once we hit 1, it'll pop in. So as we cycle this through, you just start seeing the Materialize function starting to work. There's two other important categories we need to set up. One being is the height of the model. We need to know exactly in world units and Unreal units how big and how high the model itself is. So what we want to do is go to the max height of the model and change that. Default's 1200. It's pretty high. So the way to really tell without going into the grid, the way I like to set it up is go to the Materialize amount, hit 0.99 at 99% of the effect. We need to adjust this till we start to see the effect come in place, and at that point go back a little. So right now we're already at 900, 800, 700, oh, right there. So at this point, right at 700, we want to go right back the other way until the effect goes away. So I'm going to say 770. I still see a little bit. We'll say 780. And there you go. The effect is gone. And now I can go ahead and use the effect all the way. And it should have to scale correctly on the size of the model now for what it should look like. There you go. Now you can see that the effect is being scaled correctly all the way from 0 to 1. And if this was a submodel, let's say we had two materials, and let's say the bottom half was one material and the upper half was another, that doesn't matter. We need to make sure that both of those instances would still need to have the same exact number for the height of the model so that they would be in sync with each other. That's really important, that if you have multiple materials on a model itself, the height of the model is the same for all the materials. They all need to be in sync with that same number of the world space height. So that's a pretty important issue. And then the last thing you can set is the fringe displacement, which if we scroll up to the top up here, and this can actually tell you how far out the material extrudes from the model surface. If it's too large, it can appear spiky, and that's not what you want. By default, the effects scale for larger models, so you'll probably want to drop it considerably for smaller models. So let's go ahead and try to see if we can handle that. I'll go ahead and move my Materialize to about 0.5, and then we can go up to this adjustment, and we can make it less or make it more, and we can get pretty crazy on what it looks like. So you can see that's too much. It's getting really, really spiky. So that's not what we want. We definitely want to go back down the other way. And I think we were pretty close to where it looked pretty good for that size model. And it also makes a difference on how much tessellation and how much verts you have. There we go. I'm starting to see that that's looking pretty good down here on the squares. And I think that's pretty good. I'll go ahead and live with that. Probably maybe 15. Let's try 15. That's a little better. It's not stretching out so much. And we'll go ahead and exit that. And that will conclude the effect setup. So at this point in time, you're ready to go ahead and use this effect being driven by Blueprint or by game code. So if you guys have any problems or any questions, leave a comment and I'll answer the best I can. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next training video. Thanks for watching.